Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
The Stock Movers Report, your roundup of companies making moves in the stock market, harnessing the power of Bloomberg data.
Maybe a positive sign. We actually had an IPO that did really well today.
Yay.
I know, exactly. It's like opportunity, come to market. eToro, this one at its highs up almost 43% in today's session. Its first day of trading as a public entity, closing with just shy of a 29% gain. We should point out the trading and investment platform and some of its backers raising nearly $620 million. It was an upsized IPO, so that was also another positive sign. I'm going to move on to Supermicro because this one, it is your biggest gainer in the S&P 500, and it was also active in the NASDAQ 100, a gain of about almost 16% here. This after a Saudi Arabia-based data center company, DataVolt, signs a multi-year partnership agreement with the company. Stock has rallied like more than 40% this week. It's on track for its best week since November. So a lot of attention on that one. And so, yeah. Popping to the upside. Another name that plays certainly into the tech space, we're talking about AMD. This is your second biggest gainer in the NASDAQ 100, and it is your second biggest gainer, I believe, fourth biggest gainer in the S&P 500. So again, an outperformer, up about 4.7% today. The company's board approving a $6 billion share buyback plan, about 3.3% of the company's current market value, according to our Bloomberg data. So that was a big deal. I also want to point out B of A saying NVIDIA and AMD have big opportunity related to AI infrastructure projects with Saudi Arabia. All of that news out of the Middle East, a lot of it has had to do with chips and AI developments. And one more I just want to mention, because Alphabet, it was also a top gainer in the S&P and NASDAQ. It was up about 3.7% in today's session. In terms of news, Benzinga highlighting a Davidson analyst who said in an interview with Yahoo Finance, there's a whiteboard on that one, proposing that Alphabet should contemplate splitting up Google's various businesses to enhance its overall value, and said that the value could skyrocket to over $3 trillion with a Google big bang breakup over isolated spinoffs. So I don't know, just some interesting speculation there.
All right, you had an easy job with the gainers today. I had to search far and wide to find a few stocks.
You scrounged a couple of up.
What'd you say, Scarlett?
You scrounged them up.
I did. I scrounged them up. I'm going to have to explain a few of them. I want to start with Lockheed Martin. Shares falling after the company's management said in an industry conference earlier today that they see some, quote, additional cost pressure on their classified aeronautics program. That's all we know because it's classified. It's down about 2.3% on the day today. American Eagle Outfitters also falling today. We're getting more retail stocks this week, and we'll hear from Walmart tomorrow. Before that, though, American Eagle Outfitters falling after the company pulled its guidance for the full year due to a disappointing first quarter with a 3% decline in comp sales, a 5% decline in revenue from a year earlier. They're also registering a $75 million charge related to a write-down of spring and summer merchandise. They withdrew their outlook due to macro uncertainty, which they didn't call out tariffs specifically with that withdrawing of the outlook, but I guess you could throw tariffs into.
I feel like that's code word for tariffs, right?
That's what we talked about a little earlier too. Yeah, it kind of means all the same thing. And finally, KinderCare, ticker KLCUS, down 8.5% today. It's an Oregon-based early childhood education and child care services company. Shares fell as much as 15% in the session. Ended off its lows. The company reported first quarter revenue that missed estimates. Operating income, though, did beat analyst estimates, and the company maintained its full year 2025 guidance. Analysts flagged a delay in new customer enrollments as the main driver for the revenue miss.
All right, guys, I just want to go to the bond market because if you're bored by the equity market, just go ahead and look at the bond market because that actually, fun things did stuff there. You had the front end bond market up by about 5 basis points, the back end up as well, about 6 basis points. So the whole curve hasn't gotten any steeper, but the whole curve is re-rating a bit higher. I kept hearing how 4 was going to be that top on the 2-year, but we're above that now. Both of them for the 2 and the 10, they're at the highest level since the end of February. And is that a reaction to the GOP tax bill in Washington, or is that just some sort of rebalancing, or is that position resizing as we continue to get this data coming through?
All right, guys, let's get to some earnings crossing. We're talking about Cisco. Let's go right to the red sticky because it's about the outlook. So the company sees fiscal year revenue $56.5 to $56.7 billion. It had seen 56 to 56.5. So a little bit of a movement to the upside. The stock is moving just a little bit higher as well, up about 0.2%. The company also seeing fiscal year adjusted EPS of $3.77 to $3.79 a share. It had seen 368 to 374. So again, a bump to the upside. And again, the stock moving just a little bit higher, up about 0.8% here in the aftermarket.
Okay, I'm watching Coreweave, which in the after hours is moving higher. This is a relatively new company to go public. It operates in the data and AI data management space. Coreweave's first quarter revenue coming in at $981.6 million. First quarter adjusted EBITDA coming in at $606.1 million. First quarter adjusted EBITDA margin of 62%. First quarter loss per share of $1.49. The company did hit a record high ahead of that first earnings report. Shares in the after hours right now higher by about 3%.
Yeah, but it's really going to depend on what kind of commentary they give in their outlook, because people are really looking at Coreweave as perhaps a barometer for the willingness of companies to spend on building out those data centers. So it's going to be the big read on AI spending until we get to NVIDIA in a couple of weeks.
The Stock Movers Report from Bloomberg Radio. Check back with us throughout the day for the latest roundup of companies making news on Wall Street. And for the latest market-moving headlines, listen to Bloomberg Radio live. Catch us on YouTube, Bloomberg.com, and on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with the Bloomberg Business app.